How's it going, everybody? It's Carl from Waterside Workshop, and hopefully I'm going to save you some money again today and show you how to do this Vauxhall Corsa bottom arm. So, I've got this new bottom arm sitting right here. I actually did one on my car because I've had a little tap in the front. You'll see this in another video. That's actually bent the arm over a bit. So that's the reason we're actually replacing this one. But to be honest, I'll show you where they normally go. Normally the reason you'd be changing one of these is the ball joint here would go. Oh, that one's tight. That one's lovely. This dust cover will go, or the actual ball joint itself will go, or the bushes in here will go, or the bushes in here will go. Obviously a nice new arm. They're not that expensive, to be honest. They're sort of £20–25. And you know, it's not the end of the world, to be honest. And quite often when I do them, I'll do both sides as well. But you can see basically that's going to sit in there like so. Can be a bit fiddly to get off sometimes, depending on what the bolts and stuff like that are like, but I'm sure we'll get there and I'll show you what's what. Got the old gun today to blast things off. It's driving nuts, but as you can see, that's what's what and that's what we're going to fit. So hopefully that'll help you do this on your driveway and not have to pay, you know, really high garage bills and stuff like that. If the money's a bit tight and stuff like that, it's always good to be able to know how to do your own stuff. So the first thing we'll do is we'll get the old jack. We'll go under the sill there. I'll show you where to put it. There is jacker points along the sills and stuff, but as the cars get a bit older, they get a bit softer and weaker and not really the best place to do it. So I'll show you exactly where to do it instead. And let's get this one up in the air and get started. And welcome in. So let's grab ourselves a jack. I've got this big old beast, but just use whatever you got. Now, obviously you can't see exactly what I'm doing right this second, but I'm going to bring you straight underneath the car in a minute when it's jacked up, and I'll show you every little bit of where we've gone. The normal jacker point is on the edge of the sill here, but as you can see by these stills, they're actually like brand new steel, and this is the 2001 car, so we want to keep it in that condition. So I'll show you where we jacked up once we get it in the air. Lovely jubbly, that should be more than enough. I'll bring you over, I'll show you exactly where I put that, and I would suggest you put yours in the same place. So as you can see here, this little notch here on the edge of the sill is actually where your strengthening is and where you normally put it, but I would suggest to put it under there on the chassis rail. Them chassis rails are a lot stronger, take a lot more stick. Obviously this one is like new, but the more painting that you scuff off these, the worse these condition these get, and that's what makes them start to rust. As you can see on this one, it's a little booty, but they're not all like that. So let's carry on, let's get this wheel off, and let's get stuck into this job. In case you're wondering what's all going on up there, I've done a little repair on the side of the wing there, and I'm just sort of masking a few bits up and putting 2 or 3 coats of primer on to get it all settled and sealed up. So obviously with the gun it's nice and easy to get these off. If you ain't got a gun, just use a wheel brace. of your own type. I'll put on the screen the sort of stuff you can use instead of using the gun. I'll just use that because I'm doing this day in, day out all the time. So we're a little bit flaky on there, and the old arm is not looking the best. And that's seriously bent, which is not very nice. But let's get you close in, let's see what's what, and show you what we've actually got to do on this job. Okay, so as you can see, I've lit it all up under here. So I'll get down here and I'll show you what's what. And just here is your ball joint bolts. Now you can actually cut these out and just put a ball joint in there if you want to. But to be honest, I would say it's probably not worth doing. The price of the arm, and it replaces all these bushes and that as well. As you can see on mine, mine's bent here. It should be straight. It's bent and it's also cracked across there. So that's not too good. There's another bolt under there, under the back there. And it's looking a bit flaky, isn't it? So the first thing I'm going to do is give it a good wire brush down. And then we'll start working out what we've got to undo, what sizes everything are. I'll give you all the sizes and we'll start undoing it. Okay, so as you can see, I've got the old medium bristle brushes. They're metal bristles. And just sort of get in all the areas you've got to go to. That's all whacking me in the face as well, which is not very nice. So if you need to, put a pair of goggles on as well. So this will probably take sort of 10-15 minutes to get right through everything and get, you know, where you need to be. So I'll turn you off to do that. I'll get it all cleaned up. We'll find some bolt sizes and start undoing. Some of this is pretty tough and quite a lot of rust. I reckon this car's lived on grass for a little while over the last year or so. And to be quite fair, this is actually a really low mileage car. That's why I'm doing it up, but it doesn't mean it's all been kept in one place. I'm going to have to replace some of this garden boilers. Things are still split, but we've got to take someone out anyway to do the job, so let's carry on. Got to take the bolts off the steering rack here, so I'll get them all cleaned down as well. We've got another one over here to take it under the chassis. So just basically do whatever you've got to do to start getting everything undone. It's pretty crusty. Not always like this. I mean, some of them could be, you know, really nice, but if you're going to do it, you might as well do it. And while I'm doing it, I'll do the old brake disc as well. Just makes sense, because of what I'm going to do on the next step. Just makes sense to do this as well. I will actually do the other side as well, but I obviously want to show that on camera. But once you've got that far and you've stripped it all down like so, now I haven't got what I was looking for, but I was actually looking for a tin of brake cleaner, which I haven't got any over there, so I'm going to go WD. Basically just give everything a good old coat in all where the bolts are going to be. What you're going to undo, try and get up right up into where the bolt holes and everything are. Get it all soaking. Anything that's rusty, give it a good old coating, because that will help it all nicely. While you're in there, just do the whole lot. You might as well do it. It seems silly not to. And that does it the world of good. I know brakes, NWD don't sound very good, but that doesn't hurt them whatsoever. What I'll do is I'll make myself a nice hot chocolate, let that soak in a bit, and then start finding some bolts, some sockets and stuff like that, finding out some sizes, and we'll start undoing stuff hopefully. So I've obviously done these before. So on this front one down here, I'm going to put the gun with an 18 on, and on this one around the back here, I'm going to run this spanner through. And set that on the back of there like so. Hopefully you can see that nicely. And then we'll blast it from this side and undo it. If not, you can get a spanner on either side and that'll do the same thing. Either way, you just have to do both sides of the bolt. And then obviously on that side, the bolt will come out. No, the nut will come out even. And then what I normally do is just wind this back on so it's just poking out on the edge of the thread, and get a little hammer and just tap that out, and that one will be out. Okay, so that's that one out of the way. The next one is the tricky job. You've got one underneath here, which is up there. It's pretty straightforward, 18mm, but on top in here, let me get in there. It's very hard to show and film at the same time. There we are. With this one here is another 18mm, and you've got to hold that end and the other end, so you need a swan neck spanner to get in there with for that, while you're also undoing that with a socket or something like that underneath. So that's your next one. I always put a light in like so. Just get a cheapy light, just going to show you what's what. You ain't got to spend loads of money on a light as long as it works. So I've got my swan neck all linked up like that in there, and then I'll just get my socket or my gun underneath and blast it off. And that moves. There we go. Nuts in there. That one there. Give it a little bit of a wiggle. Sometimes you have to sort of make these come out. It's just all the rust from over the years. I'm going to use a tiny little hammer like this and just give it a little tap if I can get on it. Like so, just a tiny little tap. Put the nut back on the end so you know what's what. The other one's over there for that side, this one's going to stay over here for this side. And then under here is next. Okay, so as you can see, there's the next bolt. We'll get some sizes. So the other ones have been 18 so far. And then the other side of that, which is around the other side there, you got the nut. Same again, you need one on each end. And away you go again. So we tapped a 15 on there. Don't remember them ever being a 15, but they could well be. Okay, so that bolt come out quite easy in the end. It was this one here, the one I was on about down the bottom. Next, you're going to need a ball joint splitter, which is one of these. You can get them from pretty much anywhere. Put it between the bottom arm and the hub, and you hit it. Tap it gently to get it into place. Then once it's into place, you give it a couple of big whacks. Like so. And It's nearly out. You're basically just getting the bottom arm out. And there you go. All drops down. And as you can see, the arm is free. Now, it ain't just going to fall out. It's going to be a bit of a pain. They always are. You just have to give it all a wiggle up and down, side to side. Give it everything you can think of. Whew. And look at the state of that back bush. We were taking it out because that was bent here and cracked, but that had already smashed this bush completely out. And saying that, the ball joint's gone as well. So I would say when you put one of these in, put the whole thing in. Don't just do the end. So that's out. Now it's a case of, while that's out, what I normally do is just clean up all the points of where they go back in. Get the old WD in there. Give all the holes, etc. You know exactly where you're going back in. Just squirt all the holes that are going to be the places where you put the new one back in. And slide the new one through, which we'll do in a minute. I'm just going to go and refresh my hands, because as you can see they're a bit yummy. Doesn't really bother me too much, but it's just that they're a bit slimy to pick up the new one. You can obviously wear gloves as well if you want to. So now the fun bit, time to get the new arm. You basically just got to wiggle it into place, you ain't got a choice. Can be a pain, especially this bit at the back here. Hopefully we're all going to go in. Definitely not nice. Obviously you've got to be really careful, try not to split this rubber. There's no easy way of doing it, you just have to tap it around and like so. And you've got to just keep moving it. That'll be jubbly. And we're looking good for this side, but that one over there is still not right yet. And then what you basically do is just keep moving it around until you get your bolts lined up, which I can feel that one's not yet. Keep moving it until your hole underneath here lines up and you can get your bolt through. Can be a pain, you can have to just keep wiggling it about. Sometimes I'll get a flat blade screwdriver and just wiggle it in there, get it lined up like that. Other times I can get it in without messing around too much. Obviously you've got to line up your bottom ball joint onto this arm as well, which is definitely a pain. If you want to make it easy, you can undo the track rod end so you can move this around more. But I'd like to try and keep it in that one position, and most of the time you can get it sorted out. So I'm going to grab myself a flat blade and get that lined up. So the back one slid in quite nicely. Same again with this one. You basically just got to line everything up. Each time I don't line up, just get the screwdriver in there. Wiggle it around. Most of the time you can just get it just like that. Stay. There you go, that one just went flying through as you saw. It's another 18 on each end. And then you pull this one down. Being very careful not to split any of the rubbers or anything. Couple of little taps. And that one's in as well, it's all the bolts through. Obviously this one's got to go back through. I've had a little look at the end of these and there is still quite a bit of bolt left on these, so I will be able to put it through again. Just got to line everything up. Hit it up to the top. Until the bolt lines up and go through. Nut on the end. And there you go. Your 215s. One at that end. One at that end. It'll be a bit loose to start with, but once it starts going in, that'll be all good, like so. And you're nice and tight. That's your arm in. Basically as far as you need to go. Check everything, make sure you've done everything up. Obviously the back ones are not done up yet, you want an 18 on each one, both sides. Do them up. So it's just a case of doing the 18s at the back now, as I was saying. Getting on the right size bolts. Make sure everything's really nipped up tight. They get tight fairly quick, these ones. They're normally quite good bolts, they're normally rough on the outside where you put the spanners, but the actual bolts inside and that stay quite nice, quite tidy. On the inside of the bolt. I could get the gun and just blast that, but if I strip a thread, that then won't be a very good bolt, which we don't want. Pretty good. It's good and nice and tight. You normally find on the last couple of pulls like that, everything goes nice and tight. Whew, and then we've got the fun one in there. You know you have to get a spanner in because you can't get your hand in there. Let's get it all lined up. I ain't going to put a 17 on it because it's down to 17. But an 18 should go on it. And what I normally do is I use a ratchet one like this. And that basically just helps me get it in and get it sort of holding, if that makes sense. nice. So we've got grip of the nut. Get the 18 socket. And we've got to blast away, but we've got to keep your spanner on as well, haven't we? The jubbly, and you're pretty much there now. That's everything tight. Just make sure everything is nice and tight. You've done the two back ones, that one in there, that one at the back there, that one down here, and you're pretty much there. Pretty good. So, apart from putting the wheel on, which I'm not going to do because I've got to go and get a new tyre for this one tomorrow, plus I'm going to get in here and I'm going to get the wire brush all on this subframe. As you can see, it's got a load of flaky rust on it. It's not rotten, but it's all flaky. So I'd recommend you do that as well if yours is one of this age or whatever age it is. Probably worthwhile getting in here, under seal and all of the subframe. Put like a rust treatment on after you got all the rust and flake off, and then just paint it with like a hammerite or a under seal or something like that. So hopefully that's helped you out and saved you a fair bit of money. You know, a few hours work doing that can get quite expensive. If you're handy with the old tools and that and you don't mind having a go, you should be able to do that job yourself. Just make sure this one down here is actually in. Can only go in one spot, I'll show you that. Can literally only go in one spot. If you look down the side of this ball joint, there's a little cut in the joint there, and that's where the bolt sits. So it's basically like that, holding it in. That can't actually pull out once it's tight, if that makes sense. So even though if that joint go, that's still no way in a million years that's coming out. I mean, as you saw, this car hit a curb and messed up this corner and that bent its arm and still didn't pull that out. So thanks for watching. I hope it helped you out. I hope you saved you a bit of money and hope you appreciate your time. If you do, give us a thumbs up, maybe a subscribe if you like the channel, and I'll see you soon in the next one. Bye for now.